Namaste everyone. Let's start our Wednesday class with some prayers first. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhavaswaha Tatsavitre Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma sadgamya tamso ma jyotirgamya mrityur ma amritam gamya. Om sehna bhavtu sehna bhunaktu seviryam karvavahi tejasvi navadhitamastu ma vidvishavahi. Om shanti shanti shanti. For the last few weeks we have been talking about Manisha Panchcam. So Panch means 5. So there's a group of 5 verses written by Adi Shankaracharya. So we have already gone through the first 4. So today we're going to look at the 5th one. What we are learning in these verses is that absolute bliss is the ultimate benefit of self-realization. Because they keep on telling us that self-realization is the supreme goal. So what do we get? So almost like when we finish some degree, we get a job. After doing the job, we get money. After money, we can buy things. Here they are telling us to put so much effort into it. What do we get? This is absolute bliss. Okay, not a relative bliss, absolute bliss. And this is indicated here and explained in this final verse, the 5th verse. And I'm sure you all have the script of it, because I sent it to you last week on your WhatsApp group. So let's look at the first line. Yatsaukhyā. See, I want you, these are like a little complex words, but when you break them, they are pretty easy. Yatsaukhyāmbudhi leśaleśata ime śakrādayo nirvṛtā. That is the first line. Second line is yaccitte nitarāṁ praśāntakalane labdhvā munirnirvṛtā. Third line is yasminnitya sukhāmbudhau galitadhīrbrahmaiva na brahmavid. And the fourth line, see, all these verses had four lines. So fourth line is kaścitsa surendravanditapado nūnaṁ manīṣā mama. Let's look at the word by word translation of this verse. Yat means in which. Saukhyā, that means blissful state, perfectly happy. Saukhyā. Ambudhi, that means ocean. Leśaleśata, from the minute droplets. Ime means this happiness. śakrādayo, that means from Indra and other celestial gods. Nirvṛtā, uncompromising, or experiences exist. Nirvṛtā. Third line, yasmin, whoever, nitya, forever, sukhāmbudhau, in this ocean of bliss, galitadhīrbrahmaiva, that means remains completely mixed, galita. Brahmavid is Brahma. Na brahmavid, not the knower of Brahma. And the fourth line, ya kaścitsa, whoever is such a person. So means, if as so said, like it's related to the first three lines. surendravanditapado. Such person has the feet worthy of worship by the Indra, king of the Devatas. Surendravanditapado. So his feet are worshipped even by Indra. And nūnaṁ. Nūnaṁ means a strong assertion. Manīṣā mam, my determinate knowledge or conclusive wisdom. Okay, looks like I missed the second line, I was told. So second line, ya means which. Yaccitte. Nitarāṁ. Only through the mind, without any other efforts. Yaccitte, na ityatra. Praśāntakalane, faultless and pure. Labdhvā, experiences. Muni, the seers. Seers in this world. Nirvṛtā, uncompromising. Okay, so I hope I have covered all the words now. So the direct translation of this verse is, by realizing only a few droplets of the ocean of the absolute bliss, Indra and other gods are enjoying immense pleasures in their worlds. Because we know that in the Devloka, it's a lot of pleasure. So by realizing only a few droplets of the ocean of the absolute bliss, Indra and other gods are enjoying immense pleasures in their worlds. In this world also, so that means in this prithvi, the bhu, so are the seers of clear intellect who are immersed in much greater bliss, only within their serenely focused mind. Because in the previous verses, he told us to make your mind serene. And Munis, because of the faith in God and because of their tapasya, their minds are serene. So they also feel that absolute bliss on earth. Through unwavering commitment, when the seer ultimately and completely merges in the self, the ocean of absolute bliss, he is no more the knower of Brahma, but verily the Brahma. So it's like, not only knowing something, this is what Lord Krishna said in Gita, my Bhagat, sure he knows me first, then he enters into me. So it's not just a brahmavid, but a brahmaiva. Whoever understands and holds a steadfast knowledge on this everlasting, perfect and absolute bliss, he alone irrespective of his perceived stature in the world, be it lowly or holy, is the real perceptor. Having the feet worthy of worship by Indra. And he says, this is my determinate knowledge or conclusive wisdom. Okay. You remember all of this as remember the story I told you, how the disciples of Shankaracharya ji, when they looked at that, a person with a dirty body, unkept hair, they just told him, move away from our path. That means we don't want to touch you. So Adi Shankaracharya ji, in response to that person, is saying, what you are saying is right. Atma is the same everywhere. And the person who realizes it feels the absolute bliss everywhere. So the first two verses of this Manisha Panchcam, we saw the indication that the Atma is eternal as the ultimate Sat, nominal. In the next two verses, he showed us that the Atma is infinite knowledge, Chitta. Fourth verse indicated the absolute bliss, Anand, the nature of the Atma. And now in this final verse, the fifth verse, this is further elaborated in response to the second question of the stranger, where he indicated this very nature of the Atma. He says the Atma is the ocean of absolute bliss, which is called Anand. That is Atma. And the Shankaracharya is using the word Saukhyam to denote the nature of the Atma. And in Sanskrit language, Saukhyam refers to the state when one is absolutely and completely happy. That's a Saukhyam. Even in the body, mind, intellect, Sokhe Savarupam Saukhyam. That is the definition, which implies that happiness is our nature. We have forgotten that. Why did we forget that? Because we became ignorant. The veil of the ignorance made us forget that we are absolute bliss. And not knowing what is true happiness or our true nature, we wander here and there, looking for the happiness, searching for non-terminating joy in our relationships, in our possessions, actions, but all in vain. Seeking happiness in external objects is called Vishay Ananda. Upanishads say that. And ordinarily, we only associate with Vishay Anand and we think happiness exists in the objects of desire. Money, ornaments, real estate, position, fame, and other material possessions. We really believe that they provide the happiness we are seeking. But eventually, they prove to be failed. We eventually realize that happiness achieved through Vishay is impermanent and turns out to be distress and sorrow in the end. Either that Vishya is taken away from us, or we get bored with that Vishya. Generally, the happiness from the external objects is of three types. The knowledge about the existence of the object of desire creates a sense of anxiety and excitement towards the object of desire. We see something beautiful, anxiety in us. This is known as priyam in the Upanishadic language, priyam. Or attachment, we see something beautiful, we get attached to it. And once we obtain the object of desire, we have different types of emotions known as moham or passion. Finally, when the object of desire is enjoyed, there is yet another type of emotion raised, which is referred to as pramodam or possessive pleasure. Each of these emotions is transient. The Vedic seers, they tell us. And I'm sure some of us will agree with it because we have experienced it. When the object of desire is not reached, it gives distress. Even when reached, anxiety or fear of losing the object arises. The possession of desired object also increases the dread of losing or the boredom of its prolonged ownership. We all know how many things which we love to have are sitting in our basements or even in garage. Even the enjoyment is mixed with fear and sadness. Excessive consumption breeds distaste. None of these are true happiness. You cannot call it ananda. None of these external objects are the source of true happiness. By analyzing, we deduce that only complete objects can give complete happiness. The reason why the external objects of desire are not able to provide complete happiness? Because none of these are complete. They are not Puran. Only a Puran can give a Puran happiness. They are not Puran. They are not complete. When such maturity is achieved, we also realize that happiness, in fact, is not on the objects of desire, but only on the completion or termination of desire. When a desire is fulfilled, there is happiness. In other words, when a desire is released, happiness arises. So we conclude that in the existence of desire, there is no true happiness. But in the release of the desire, there is. That's why Lord Krishna, what did he say? The first enemy or the first doorway to hell is desire. Come. Then we change our view that the happiness not in the desires at all, but only in its absence. Every action, when done without any desire of its benefits, must give true happiness. And this is what Lord Krishna talked about when he defined tyag for us. He used the word tyag. He said, before you reach to the sannyas, there has to be a tyag. And we can understand as a tyag anand. On one hand, there is a vishya anand, which is temporary, full of grief also, full of anxiety also. Then there's a tyag anand. That's a joy of detachment. by dispassionate service through unconditional sacrifices, a more refined joy is achieved. This is better and reflects an evolved state. Yet the search for the absolute bliss continues, though. Tyag Anand is still not the absolute bliss. It's higher than the Vishya Anand, but not the absolute. That's why a different but a nobler desire roots in our heart that seeks the absolute and complete happiness. We begin to understand that the self is the absolute bliss, which is shielded only by our own ignorance. And the gurus say that only with clear intellect and serene and focused mind, devoid of undue desires, the underlying ocean of bliss absolute can be seen. And this is Adi Shankaracharya ji in these 5 verses are telling us. Focused mind, clear intellect, and serenity. By realizing only a few drops of that bliss, the gods in their worlds have immense pleasures. Similarly, by contemplating on the self, the seers on the earth, he says, acquire far more happiness within their mind. That is the true and eternal happiness. And you know what is this called? Gyan Anand. So there's a Vishya Anand, Tyag Anand, and ultimately Gyan Anand. Only those who have immersed in the Gyan Anand are able to declare like this, that there is none other than the self. There is none to desire, none to deny. I am the self. That is the Gyan. I am the Brahma. Not just the knower of the Brahma, I am Brahma. So they are the Jivan Mukts. There's another terminology in the yogic scriptures they use. Who are truly happiest souls wandering in the world. Such a seer continues in this supreme contemplation. And ultimately, he becomes one with that ocean of absolute bliss. Not just the droplets of the bliss he feels, he becomes the ocean of the bliss. He is no more a knower of Brahm, but Brahm itself. That's what Shankaracharya is declaring in these verses. Merging into this eternal Sat Chit Anand is the only destination and destiny for all lives. This is natural. This is the eternal law. And out of compassion, the highly profound and ordinarily incomprehensible, yet the simplest of the simple truth of Vedas has been beautifully presented for our understanding here. How to raise the level of equanimity, which is free of the pride and vain ego, free of discriminations and hatred, to raise the self to the universal self. This is what he's teaching us. So I would like you to go back to these verses. The first verse where we learned and he analyzed the Jivatma, and he did conclude over there also that it is none other than the Brahma. And in the second verse, he analyzed the Paramatma, the Atma enshrined in all living bodies and all worlds, and declared that only the Brahm appears as the Jivatma in the individual bodies. Third verse, out of compassion, the ever graceful Shankaracharya ji offers the methods for acquiring such wisdom and its benefit for the humanity. And in the fourth verse, he further shows that the Atma is the Sat, Chit, Anand. It is the nearest and the dearest, yet remains beyond cognition. And finally, the verse we studied today, he reveals that the ultimate benefit of self-realization is the taste of absolute bliss, which is filled within us as a serene ocean. Not just droplets only, the ocean. And those who know this and contemplate on this wisdom will ultimately merge into the ocean of absolute bliss. And he declared that at this stage he is no more a knower of Brahm, but the Brahma himself. So this is what we have learned. So let me just, I know, and some of you are writing the literal translation also. I'll go over that again so that you can have the full translation, the meaning of this verse number 5. By realizing only a few droplets of the ocean of the absolute bliss, Indra and other gods are enjoying immense pleasures in their worlds. In this world too, so are the seers of clear intellect who are immersed in much greater bliss only within their serenely focused mind. Okay? So sometimes we think we got to become a devata to know this. No. We don't have to ask for the devlok. Right here in a human body, if we can make our intellect sharp enough, subtle enough, mind pure enough, tranquil enough, we can feel that bliss right here. We don't have to go to the devlok or even to a brahmlok. Through unwavering commitment, see, commitment we make, but how strong is our commitment? He says unwavering commitment, when the seer ultimately and completely merges in the self, the ocean of absolute bliss is no more the knower of Brahm, but verily the Brahm. Like a drop of water, ocean water, becomes ocean when it merges with the ocean. So this is what he is saying. It becomes Brahm. Whoever understands and holds a steadfast knowledge on this everlasting, perfect, and absolute bliss, he alone, irrespective of his perceived stature in the world, be it lowly or holy, is the real preceptor. And preceptor means a guru. Having the feet worthy of worship by Indra. This is my determinate knowledge or conclusive wisdom. Okay, so very clearly he is telling us what to do. After we do this, what do we gain? Our nature is happiness. But we got to remember that, are we looking for just a temporary happiness and wasting this beautiful human body after the Vishya Anand? Or when we detach everything, we say, no, Tyaga Anand only. Because a person who detaches from this worldly life, sure, there is a little Anand in there, but that is not the ultimate. Sometimes after letting go of everything, the ego erupts again. It's almost like when you acquire something, you gloat, you say, oh, I got it. When you let it go, you say, oh, I'm the one who renounced it. He says, we got to go towards that Gyan Ananda. That is the real knowledge. That is the absolute bliss. That is Brahman. So he's just opening our eyes towards this whole drama of life. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here, and I'm sure you guys have some questions or comments. Let's start with that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Viseshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.